And Tinie Tempah joins me now. Hello to you. Tinie Tempah, I don't know how much you could hear of Marsha Rigg, but I just wanted to get your response to what she had to say about the death of her brother Sean and the memories that have been brought back as she saw that footage of George Floyd.
Yeah, just rest in peace to Sean Rigg and condolences to his family. I only caught the end of what she was saying, but of course, you know, we're all hurting right now over the death of George Floyd and the circumstance with Sean Rigg all those years ago is not that different. So, you know, my condolences to her and to all of her family.
When you saw the video, what was your response?
My response was like anyone else's. I was hurt, I was disgusted, I was outraged. And, you know, unfortunately for me, this is not the first video I've seen like this. So there's been dozens and dozens of videos that have come out of America over the recent years. Philando Castile included, Eric Garner included, which was a very similar situation to George Floyd. So yeah, for me, I can't even really describe my emotions in words. And so, yeah, I just wanted to vent my frustration through lyrics. And of course, you know, I did my own personal bits of what I could to help, you know, directly to Black Lives Matter and whatnot. But yeah, it's been going on for too long, and it isn't just in our lifetime. It's been going on long before us. You know, this is a systemic problem. Racism isn't only going on in America. You know, the UK is not innocent. Europe is not innocent. You know, this is a systemic thing that is not only within the police institution, it's in other institutions as well. So, you know, being Black, you can't not watch that video and feel, you know, a deep pain that there's no real way of healing.
You tweeted, how many times does this need to happen in America till all the African Americans with power, global influence and immense wealth do something to make these unjust crimes stop happening for good? How many videos must the world watch? This is going on in the supposed land of the free. Do something. What do you want to be done?
I mean, I don't necessarily have the answer. I think when I tweeted that, I was tweeting out of frustration, you know, because the illusion that's painted to us of what America is like is almost like this prosperous place where you can go and thrive and kind of become everything you want. But, you know, when you're looking at the majority of the population and how they're living, even, you know, in reference to, you know, COVID-19 and the deaths that have been going on there, the deaths that have been going on here, you know, double the amount of our white counterparts. I think for me, I was almost looking to my icons and to my legends, you know, people that I'd grown up, you know, watching, even though the majority of them have done amazing things to raise awareness of racism, you know, police brutality, this disease that is racism. I think for me, because I kind of felt helpless, you know, I was kind of like looking to the people who I felt were powerful, that were kind of within my eye line, and it was them. But in terms of like the overall answer, it's obviously a lot more complicated than that.
And in terms of the response of people with power, what do you make of the way President Trump has handled this?
I mean, I definitely feel like the tear gassing of individuals, the rubber bullets being used on individuals, I definitely think that that's not the way forward. I think this is not the first time it's happened, you know, so people have been rioting and protesting and uprising, you know, like was previously said. Time and time again, this has been happening. So I feel like, yeah, you going back and using tear gas on innocent people, rubber bullets on innocent people is not a way to send the world a message of unity against this injustice that is, you know, the death of George Floyd.
What does justice for George Floyd look like?
Again, you know, I'm not here claiming to have all of the answers. You know, I was thrilled and relieved to hear that Derek Chauvin, who was the police officer who, committed that unjust, evil act. You know, I don't know how else better to describe it. I was thrilled and relieved, and there was almost like a mini bit of justice when we learned that he had been convicted and he'd been charged with murder as well. And so I'm sure that again, I couldn't even put myself in the shoes of George Floyd's family, but I'm sure that they would be also very happy to hear that as well. But, you know, like I said, it's deeper than just George Floyd. You know, everybody, you know, of color, everybody within this kind of like Black and ethnic minority, the BAME community all over the world feels the effects of racism, you know, and we all feel it the same. It's just that, you know, and to think, sorry, that, you know, the people that are protecting you can be your murderers, you know, is even a bit more of a scarier feeling. So, yeah, I guess justice for George Floyd would be Derek Chauvin and all of the other officers that were around as well, because some of them haven't been named yet, for all of those people to be held account, for all of those people to be jailed. But again, you know, there's a bigger issue. And now that we all have these platforms to talk, you know, I just want to say that the world is a racist place. You know, our system that we're in is a white, racist, oppressive system. And until people can kind of look up and acknowledge this and come together to make change, you know, change definitely does not happen overnight. But this has been going on for the last 400 or 500 years, do you get what I mean? And in our timeline that we can reference, the last 60, 70 years since a lot of these countries have been liberated and free. So I think it's time for everybody to kind of like identify the white elephant in the room and just come together to start finding some real solutions of how we can eradicate such a primitive disease.
Do you think when you see the movements, the protests going on in Hyde Park today, the Black Lives Matter movement, Blackout Tuesday yesterday, and the response to that, that we are at a point when we are starting to see some change, or at least the appetite for that change?
I feel like social media is definitely giving us almost a magnifying glass into the emotions and the feeling of the world. And it's definitely been a great tool to unite one another, you know, because for me, this is one of the first real times that I've seen a real, you know, diverse palette of people stand out openly against this injustice, you know, with all the different levels of profiles that they have. So I definitely feel like this protest has been great for raising awareness, but, you know, at the same time, it hasn't ended the problem. And so we need to even continue this conversation beyond this to find some real solutions.
OK, Tinie Tempah, thanks very much indeed for talking to us here on Sky News.
Thank you.